pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Janice, any changes? Any questions on the agenda? Motion to approve? Bill, second. Kimberly, all in favor? 5-0. We're going to start with some student and staff recognitions tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Zukowski. A great pleasure for me to introduce Dr. Anthony, our middle school principal, who will make the introductions. We're going to be recognizing many outstanding middle school students tonight. Dr. Anthony?
Good evening. I'm here with Linda Judding, one of our music teachers, and we have a lot of talented middle school students with us tonight. Our first presentation has to do with the Suffolk County Music Educators Association All-County Festival, and that's a series of concerts that include musicians in grades 5 through 10 throughout Suffolk County. Students are selected from a pool of over 7,000 students representing a number of area school districts, and their selection is based primarily on school music teacher recommendation in conjunction with their previous year's NYSMA grade. These talented musicians put in extra time learning several pieces in preparation for extensive rehearsals with their respective ensemble during 2 weekends in March. Their experience culminated with the Skamia East Festival last Sunday, March 12th, at Longwood High School. Students, will you please stand when your name is called to be recognized?
Okay, we're going to start with our chorus students from Prodale Middle School. And again, like Dr. Anthony said, please just stand when your name's called, and we'll have some applause after each of our groups. Okay, so our chorus students, this is grades 6, 7, and 8. Liam Flatley, Nina Gorniak, Eric Gooley, Jillian Hobbs, Emma Longboat, Grace McMillan, Madison McQuaid, Ava Merced, Ryan O'Shaughnessy, Carter Rubin, and Michael Sabino. Congratulations to our chorus students. Okay, chorus students, you may be seated. Our orchestra students, please stand. Natalie Acker, Kira Faragasso, Sarah Krasinski, Anya Minty, Mika Masawa, Jessica Nastasi, Brooke Roth, Annie Sheehan, Kaylee Thompson, Megan Thrash, and Abigail Wing. Congratulations to our orchestra students. Our band students, Teresa Adams, Elise Brooks, Daniel Colon, Olivia DeRoches, Brandon Doherty, Catherine Fox, Joshua Green, Sophia Sturpey, Larissa Verdi, Andrew Vignolia, and James Wicks. Congratulations, band students. Another opportunity that is available to our orchestra students is through the LISFA. It's the Long Island String Festival Association. It's strings only. And they split the groups up into, the orchestras are 5th grade orchestra, a 6th grade orchestra, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the Prodale Middle School students that were involved in that also took place on a separate date. It was earlier in the year. They had their concert the weekend of January 15th. Those students from Prodale were Natalie Acker, Shiki Cheng, Sean Danny, Kira Faragasso, Sarah Krasinski, Mika Masawa, Jessica Nastasi, Brooke Roth, Annie Sheehan, Kaylee Thompson, and Abigail Wing. Congratulations to these students also.
In addition to the concert band, orchestra, and chorus, Skamia has an all-county instrumental jazz band. Students are selected to the jazz band not just by recommendation, but from a live audition. And this year, although he could not be here tonight, we are very proud to say that Daniel Julian was selected to lead alto, the lead voice in the jazz band. Congratulations to all our excellent music students. I would now like to recognize a gymnast in our school, Mary Curry. Mary, could you come here? This past January, Mary was ranked number 15 in the top 100 highest all-around USA Level 4 gymnasts in the United States. The all-around score is the total score a gymnast receives after competing in 4 events: the floor, the bars, the beam, and the vault in a meet. A perfect all-around score in a meet is 40. Mary received a 38.3, which is an almost perfect 10 in each event in that meet. She received a 9.6 on the bars, a 9.7 on the beam, 9.55 on the floor, and a 9.45 on vault, which was the all-around score of 38.3. We want to congratulate her and recognize her this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. With all of the budgets and bonds and stuff that we have to do up here every week, it is absolutely refreshing to see the kids come before the board to show off their stuff. And it's a testament not only to their hard work, but all the hard work that their teachers and their instructors and certainly that their parents put in, running their taxi runs and rearranging dinners and doing all the things that are necessary to allow you guys to do what you do. So congratulations to all of the families, not just the children, but to all of the families. You all deserve a round of applause. We're going to take 5 minutes if anybody needs to get home for dinner and homework.
Bye, brother. I knew it was.
Hold them captive.
My daughter's like, I'm out. I said, it's the budget. I'd rather do my homework.
Yeah, you throw in, like, you know, when you go to the budget vote, remember, it's, you know, that's what the taxes are paying, all these great things, positive results. Yeah.
Empty in a hurry.
We'll find out later. Just needed to make sure I set the rules of the orchestra, for lack of a better word, you know? The Eagles.
didn't seem right to make them sit through the budget. Are we good? All right. You all set? Janice, we have any statements from residents?
Yes, Ms. Michelle Loesch. Hi, everyone. I'm just up here to say a few words. I'm part of the Wellness Committee here at the high school, for the district. And we've had a couple of meetings talking about the wellness policy and cafeterias, kitchens, and things that are going to be changing. One recommendation I had during our meetings was to start working and partnering with our local farms, doing the Farm to School program here, which I did not realize actually originated back in the mid-90s. So it's been around a really long time, and it's developed tremendously throughout the country. But what the Farm to School program provides is a model for positively influencing children's eating habits through school cafeteria improvements, hands-on nutrition education, and community involvement and support. The last decade has witnessed a tremendous spike in nutrition and health-related diseases in the country, especially those affecting our children. Farm to School is one initiative, and it also has the added benefits of supporting small farmers, local agriculture, and local economies. So we have, I can think of 3 families off the top of my head whose children have gone through the district, Bernie Mae, the Andersons, the Andrews, even Condozello's farm. So we have a lot of local farms that I feel we could network with and utilize them and supporting our economy, our local farmers, and helping our children with nutrition and being exposed to local seasoned foods. I'm just going to quickly go through the benefits and then I'll be done. But as far as the studies have shown over these last 2 decades, for students, fruit and vegetable consumption increases from 1 to 1.5 servings per day. Their physical activity increases because they start to feel better. The obesity epidemic is on a rise, so that helps with the prevention. There is more of an awareness of food regarding gardening, agriculture, healthy food, their local food, and what foods are in season and how it tastes when they are in season. Their food choices, they actually are willing to try healthier options in the cafeteria, knowing they come from our local farmers. Their academic achievement overall improved from K through 12. Their behaviors became better, self-esteem, social skills, life skills improved. The schools saw a benefit as far as their local sourcing. They were able to purchase 50% of their produce in season from their local farmers. Improved cafeteria options, so there's more offerings of fruits, vegetables, seasonal recipes, new waste management policies. The food service staff, which I understand here in the high school, is our own employees. Improved morale, increased knowledge. Teachers also have benefit from positive diet and lifestyle. And the farmers themselves see an increase in their income of 5% average. And also there's a decrease in your distance between your producer and your consumer, so the food tastes better. So these are just little things, the benefits that we're talking about in the wellness meetings with the change in the policies that we have to start adapting and talking about in the district. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other statements, Janice?
Well, we have one other person that wants to sign up and speak.
No.
Doesn't she just have a
Past the
stamp?
deadline.
I never get here in the beginning of the meeting. This is like a nostalgic. I just wanted to, I don't know where we are in the discussion on field trips, which is our third rail right here in our district right now, but what I wanted to bring up is the 2 field trips, Philadelphia and DC, and I'd like, even in other districts where the parents pay for them, where they're outside organizations, where like CTA at Miller Place, where the parents, all that money is handed on the outside, the teachers and staff are still taken care of in-house. So the staff that goes with them is still taken care of by the district. That is very sticky when it comes to PTA and parents paying for chaperones and any of the expenditures that go along with that. Busing also gets real sticky. And one of the lovely things that happened 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, is when the district decided to pay for the busing for DC, because that made it accessible to everyone, and the PTO could fundraise for those other amounts. So when looking at that, at the very least, because when you're paying for chaperones, you're not only paying for healthcare, you're paying for the bike, you're paying into a lot of other things that go along with the chaperone pay, and I think that is something that should be under the district umbrella. And can we have carrots in the high school cafeteria, raw carrots? There were some kids today of my group, I asked them to go healthy, and they couldn't find anything raw other than a salad. Thanks.
Thank you. Janice, anyone else?
No.
If there's no objections, I'd like to move a resolution up to the top.
I was going to make the same suggestion.
Saw Patrick sitting back there. Resolution 1617-209, as everyone remembers, Patrick Lane was here last week, gave us his presentation regarding his Eagle Scout project and repairing the trail behind the high school field. So if we could get a vote on Resolution 1617-209.
Motion to approve?
Bill, second. Mike, all in favor? 5-0. Thank you,
sir.
When do you think you'll start?
No pressure. Tomorrow too soon?
That gives you permission to leave. Thanks. Anyone have any old business? Next are reports and reviews. Superintendent's report, Mr. Lederer.
Thank you. Today, I'm sure you all received my robocall. The high school received through a student, a text message that was alarming and threatening, and that there would be a dangerous situation here at the high school. Frankly, they didn't specify the school, but it was received by a high school student. It was brought to my attention by Mr. Holtzman, our high school principal, and Mr. Holtzman immediately contacted the police department, who I was very pleased. They responded with a number of officers very quickly, and their supervisor, the sergeant, came as well. We had the cell phone and the actual message, and it was shared with the police, who attempted through pinging to identify who sent it. They were unsuccessful. So we have taken steps as a precaution going forward for tomorrow morning to ensure the safety of all. Tonight, after the last students leave our building, there's athletics because of the weather conditions. Our athletes can't be outside to practice, and they are required to get a minimum number of practices in before their first scrimmage or contest. So after the last practice session tonight, members of our security detail, Mr. Van, our high school assistant principal, Mr. Holtzman, and others will check every locker in the building and every locker in our locker rooms, both, of course, boys and girls. That will be done tomorrow morning. We will have a police presence upon student arrival shortly after 7 a.m., along with a number of our staff and security personnel to check all student bags, school bags and what have you, to make certain that there is nothing of any danger in there. Additional security will be in the building throughout the day, as will additional supervisory personnel to monitor our students in the hallways, stairwells, cafeterias, and we'll do that throughout the day. And again, we expect that the Suffolk County Police Department will be with us in the morning. We can't predict how much time they'll spend with us beyond that during the school day, but they will always, of course, be available to us on a as-need basis. So we are going forward with that, and we feel confident that the school will be safe, and all our students will be closely monitored. I put out a robocall because I think it's extremely important that parents be fully informed and made aware of the situation. I do hope that students will come to school tomorrow. I'm very confident that we have this under control, although in many, many situations that I've been confronted with this in the past, they tend out to be hoaxes. We still take them very, very seriously, and we'll react accordingly. I want to congratulate and commend Mr. Holzman, Mr. Van, and our staff here at the high school for their quick attention to this, their immediate attention to it, and the efficient manner in which steps were taken to ensure the safety of both faculty and student body. We had a faculty meeting today to make the teachers aware and the staff aware of what we'll be confronting tomorrow morning. So I feel confident we've got a plan in place that will safeguard our school, and we hope that all our students can focus tomorrow, and we'll go forward. We continue to investigate, believe me, and hopefully we'll come up with the name of the individual, and that person will, of course, face serious consequences to his or her behavior. But I think we've got this under control, and we hope for the best tomorrow. So I'm open to any questions if there is any. I have received a couple of phone calls, but after my call went out, the message is also on our website, so we hope that the community is well aware of what has transpired here today.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Is that it?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm good.
Next, we have the 2017-2018 budget development presentation. I didn't know if you had more.
Down is up. Down is up. Good evening. Tonight is part 2 of our 2017-18 budget development process. Last week, March 7th, I had presented the 2017-18 tax levy would be approximately 3.9%. Since that meeting, we have found out that the anticipated pilot that was renegotiated pertaining to the J-Power peaker plant that is located on the National Grid property has not yet been finalized. Even though the Brookhaven Industrial Development Agency had passed a resolution to accept the reduced value of the pilot, the actual power purchase agreement between the two and National Grid and PSE&G has not been finalized yet. Without that agreement being finalized, meaning has gone to closing, the district should not include that pilot revenue source as part of the tax levy limit calculation. On that same day, the district was notified that the Shoreham Solar Commons project, which is the solar farm on the Tallgrass property, was finalized. So the tax levy limit calculation has been revised. The previous one presented to you on March 7th has been revised. It's still based on the formula provided by the controller. We are still only requesting a 50% plus one. This is not a piercing levy. The allowable levy limit with exclusions now is 4.6951%. The calculation includes the full bond payment, the expiration of the LIPA pilot payment, and the Shoreham Solar Commons pilot. Still adds in the state aid, building aid offset. The revised levy, again, we are not proposing to pierce. A supermajority vote is not needed. The proposed levy is 4.6951%. We only need a simple majority plus one. I had previously presented that our tax levy started with a negative 3.0935%. Now that the pilots have been revised, we are starting with a 2.3507%. So it's important to point out that as part of the calculation process, these changes are out of the district's control. Once a pilot is finalized, we are able to reduce the tax levy burden from the taxpayers onto the agency that has been granted this pilot. The net change between the loss of the J-Power revised amount and the Shoreham Solar Commons pilot is a reduction in pilot revenue of $390,000. That's what reduced the tax levy limit before allowable exclusions down to a negative 2.35%. We add in the EPC payments, we add in the bond principal and interest, it brings your tax levy to as high as 6.521%. You reduce the levy by the amount of building aid received from New York State, brings us to an allowable limit of 4.6951%. Does anyone have any questions on this revised tax levy limit amount? Okay, moving along. The goal of the 2017-18 budget continues to support quality teaching, curriculum, education that meets the community standards and expectations. The 2017-18 budget preserves all current academic and interscholastic programs and broadens the extracurricular offerings. Last year, the adopted budget was a 6% increase over the previous year's budget. This year, the proposed budget is a 3% increase over the current year's budget. So we're showing an increase of approximately $2,177,858. Previously, I had presented this summary budget. The budget now is the same 3% expenditure increase. The two main changes here, one revolves around the tax levy increase, and the offset to that is the loss of the $390,000 in pilot revenue, which brings you to a $1 million loss in the other local revenue section. Tonight, we plan on discussing 94.32% of the budget. We will cover the categories outlined: employee salaries, employee benefits, debt and transfers, district-wide expenses, transportation, and special education. As part of the 2017-18 spending plan, additional support will be provided for the elementary psychologist, AP capstone research, science research, math support at the secondary level, online databases and programs, K-12 universal screener, and as well as the 1-to-1 Chromebook pilot program. New clubs for 2017-18, robotics, debate, nothing's changed from the previous week. I just continue to highlight what the additions are in the 2017-18 spending plan. Employee salaries. Salaries are forecast based on contractual obligations outlined within the collective bargaining agreement. It is important to point out that both the teacher's contract as well as the CSCA contract both expire at the end of this school year, June 30th, 2017. So under the Triborough Amendment of the Taylor Law, whatever contract benefits that both bargaining units that their employees are entitled to are included in the 2017-18 budget. The administrator's contract calls for a 0% increase in 2017-18, and other non-represented employees will be determined by the Board of Education. This particular budget code increases 3.04%, and it makes up 45.37% of the total budget. So salaries, we are a teaching business. We don't make widgets, we teach kids. We are maintaining buildings. So we are supposed to have majority of our expenditure assigned to this salary codes. Employee benefits, teachers' retirement system. The contribution rate for 17-18 is projected to be 9.8%. This is reflective of a 16.38% decrease. This calculates to dollars of about $450,000 decrease. The employees' retirement system is anticipated to see a 17% rate, which is the same rate as 16-17. And the health plan premiums continue to rise. We are projecting conservatively at 12%, which is approximately $850,000 increase to the expenditure budget. Once you factor in salaries and benefits, we have covered 70% of the entire budget. Debt service and transfers. We will include the annual bond payment associated with the 2015 voter-approved bond referendum. The total payment for principal and interest is a little less than $3.6 million. We will retain a transfer to capital fund line, allowing us to provide and renovate or replace the irrigation repairs at both the Miller Avenue and Wading River schools, fencing around the middle school track, irrigation repairs, field turf repairs at the middle school track, and as well as a new greenhouse for the middle school. What is the difference between a transfer to capital fund budget line and a capital reserve fund? What I neglected to point out earlier is there are two propositions that are on the ballot for May 16th. Proposition 1 is this 2017-18 budget, and Proposition 2 is requesting voter authorization to establish a capital reserve fund. To ensure that there is no confusion between what a capital reserve fund is and what transfer to capital fund budget line is, the transfer to capital fund budget line offers specific projects identified during the budget process. When the budget is approved by the voters, the transfer to capital fund is made and planning begins to complete the projects, and work will be completed when the required plans and approvals are in place. A capital reserve fund, in order to establish the reserve fund, this is before it is funded. We need voter approval in order to establish this reserve fund. That's what Proposition 2 is on the ballot. This is a fund in which money accumulates to complete work at a point in the future. Any plan to spend money from this reserve must also first receive voter approval. So it's critical to point out that this that this reserve is going to be voter-controlled from the time it is established to the time the money is asked for approval to be spent. Debt service and transfers continued. We will retain a transfer to cafeteria fund line. We are bringing on a new kitchen, the Wading River Kitchen and Cafeteria, as part of the 2015 voter-approved bond work. So there's startup capital needed for that program, both in staffing as well as equipment. And this particular budget line also covers the cost to the district for the free and reduced student meals. Also included in the debt service and transfer budget section are interest on tax anticipatory notes. School taxes do not begin to be received by the district until December or January. However, we have outflows of cash beginning July 1st. So to date, we have been able to use some of the prior year state aid money, some of our additional cash flow. So we've been very, very fortunate that our TAN borrowing has been on the low side. However, $15 million of the prior year state aid money now has been assigned to complete bond work. So the cash flow is continuing to tighten. So we will be issuing TANs when needed to supplement our cash flow shortage. As I mentioned earlier, the annual bond payment in principal and interest is included in this budget code. The energy performance contract, interest and principal payments are included for both energy performance contracts, transfer to cafeteria fund, capital fund, and special aid fund. The net increase to this budget code is $754,608. At this point, we have covered 78% of the total budget. Any questions?